welcome to Gordon Solie.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and welcome once again to Georgia Championship Wrestling, and what an exciting hour we have in store for you. I'd like to take a moment now to call in Freddie Miller, because as you know, a lot of things happened this past week at the Omni in Atlanta, including a Texas Death Match that was actually never finished.
First time, I think, in the history of professional wrestling, Gordon. That match is, of course, where falls don't count. It continues. It was between Dusty Rhodes and Terry Funk, and you're going to show highlights of it later, but it never finished, and the fans will see why.
Exactly, and also, of course, some very, very exciting news. You'll see the contract signing, Tommy Wildfire Rich signing to meet the world heavyweight champion Harley Race, and that's something that everybody's been looking for.
It was an electric moment, the crowd at the Omni, and of course I think they typified thousands of wrestling fans throughout the country roared with approval when it was announced Harley Race had signed and Tommy Rich would be his opponent the next time Harley's in Atlanta, the next time we're in that building, and of course that's a great moment and a dream come true possibly for young Tommy Wildfire Rich.
Certainly no question about that. Did in fact beat him.
Yes, sir. Sure did. It was a big smile. We wrestled for an hour, and they say the time had run out, but I did get the pinfall on him, and I just, I feel like I can do it, and this time I'll do it before the hour's up.
Let me ask you something. At this point, you're talking to the crowd. You can hear the crowd in the background cheering. They're extremely pleased for you. How did you feel inside?
Had butterflies all in my stomach, and most of all, I just wanted to thank all the people that were there, because, just like I say time and time again, without them people, I feel like I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Well, there's certainly no question about that. It's been a proven fact that Tommy, when the people are cheering him on, gets that added second effort, and that has been so very, very beneficial for him. But, of course, the eyes of the wrestling world now will be focused on you Sunday, February 24th at the Omni. You'll be meeting Harley Race.
Yes, sir, and, that's it, Gordon. The 24th, Harley Race, a lot of sweat, hard work, and it's all coming true now. I've got Harley Race, the next Omni, and I'm looking forward to it, Harley, because I just, he's been putting bounties out on me, had people trying to hurt me, and I know he wouldn't be trying to waste his money like that if he didn't feel deep down in his heart that I could beat him. So we'll find out at the Omni, and I believe with all of my heart that I can beat the man.
That'll be the 24th. May I say that his reputation is preceded, and he is one of the most feared, awesome competitors in professional wrestling today, and welcome to Georgia, sir.
Das ist richtig, the great Baron Von Raschke. I am come here for one purpose, and one purpose only, to show all the Americanishers, wrestler, who is superior, who is the greatest wrestler of them all. I know there are many enemies that will be following me, trying to challenge the Baron. And as I look around, I see many who would like to be as great as the Baron Von Raschke. But I am master of the claw, the brain claw. I will be squeezing my opponents into submission. Ich muss gewinnen! Ich will gewinnen! I am underdog!
286 pounds, Baron Von Raschke. Baron Von Raschke. His opponent from Riverdale, Georgia, weighing in at 235 pounds, Marvin Turner. Marvin Turner
Going up against Baron Von Raschke. And you can see the exceptionally powerful build of this man. Here's a man who wrestled 11 years, I understand, as an amateur. He has been a professional for the past 13 years. He's a member of the Olympic team, represents Germany. Raschke, the takedown, smiling at his opponent. Fireman carry takedown, and he kept the arm hooked at the same time. Excellent move, and certainly an excellent indication of his earlier background. On the break, it was Raschke delivering a boot to the shoulder of Marvin Turner. Turner with a takedown that time, and Von Raschke somewhat enraged by this. Von Raschke very deceptive in his height. Look at the power of this man. Turner trying to fire back to no avail. Von Raschke just simply overpowered him. Von Raschke catching him with the boots now. Von Raschke has him a backbreaker. Von Raschke closing. No, sir. Count of 2, not a count of 3. Von Raschke catches him again. Another fireman carry by Von Raschke. Moves in on his man. Partial reverse Nelson, but Turner gets that shoulder off again before the count of 3. Now Turner firing to the midsection, and Turner beginning to move more effectively against this giant German. Von Raschke caught him coming in. Von Raschke set himself, caught him coming in. The boot right squarely in the middle of the chest. Turner caught coming off the ropes now again by Von Raschke. Modified side headlock now on Marvin Turner by Von Raschke. Turner trying to hook under the chin, trying to turn the head, but Von Raschke applying more pressure, and Turner continues to be in trouble. Turner getting the head scissors. Von Raschke slips away from it. Into those ring ropes once again. Von Raschke again with those tremendous forearms. Several times when Turner's tried to move again, and Von Raschke has just completely overpowered him. Vertical suplex. Turner in a lot of trouble, and Von Raschke obviously setting for that brain claw. Has it. And look at the tremendous strength in those hands. Turner trying futilely to free himself, but Von Raschke has the brain claw on him. That comes down, clamps down on both temples. That it's extremely painful. Catches both temples, can cause unconsciousness. Catching those nerves coming into the brain, and he continues to apply it. Von Raschke. Finally, the referee is able to separate him. No question about it. When he applied that brain claw, it was all over for Marvin Turner. Von Raschke, like a caged animal, still wanting to move in on this man if he can. But no question about it. The man representing Germany, Baron Von Raschke, the winner in that particular match. I want to take a moment right now to talk to one half of the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, a gentleman who leaves nothing to chance when he steps into that ring. I'm referring, of course, to Lars Anderson.
Thank you, Gordon. Look, on September 24th,
I'll tell you this, I remember the date you're talking about, and I remember the specific match you're talking about, and this is when a lot of your problems began with Koloff and Smirnov, right?
That's right. You know, it's we're going to have a Texas tornado match. You know, we've wrestled them in the Russian team a couple of times. They seem to pull boots out. They want to be all in the ring at the same time. They want to jump us from behind, run us into post. It's been a long time, Gordon, since I've been run into a ring post. I really cannot quite express how angry I am.
Well, obviously,
how much hostility I really have inside of my body, because it has been a long time since I have been humiliated, since I have been in the ring bleeding. And I will say this. A Texas tornado match is without a doubt for tag team wrestling the toughest match in professional wrestling. You have to watch your back. Your opponent has to work, your partner has to work with you, has to be right with you.
Well, on February 24th at the Omni in Atlanta, you're going to have that opportunity, you and Ole against...
I'm going to have this boot. I took this boot away from Ivan Koloff. And my brother Ole has a boot. He took a boot away from Koloff. We will have the boots, and we will bring the boots into that ring. It'll be a Texas tornado match. And I guarantee one thing, when we step into that ring, I'm going to beat him as hard as I can in the head with this boot, and Ollie's going to do the same thing, and we're going to send that team back to Russia.
Dynasty, if you will, the late Dory Funk Sr. and Dory Funk Jr., who became world heavyweight champion. Terry Funk was with me right now, who also became world heavyweight champion, the only two brothers ever to hold the world heavyweight championship. It's a pleasure to have you here today, sir.
It's a pleasure being here. A lot of people and a lot of sports fans didn't expect me to be here today. They didn't expect me to continue getting up in that Texas death match with Dusty Rhodes. One person even told me, he says, we felt like you were going to pass away. Well, if I would have passed away, I would have wanted to pass away, and I would have wanted to have been buried in Texas. But it would have taken 3 weeks for the mortician to prepare my body, because it would have been taking him that long to wipe the smile off of my face from the satisfaction of beating Dusty Rhodes the way I did.
Well, now,
I am the undisputed king of the Texas death matches.
No, sir, I don't think you can really hold that title or that claim any longer, sir. Because when you met Dusty Rhodes in that Texas death match, it was a match that never ended. It never
ended.
That's right.
Never ended. It ended when my brother entered that ring and forcefully pulled me off of Dusty Rhodes.
Oh, really? I'll tell you what, let's do then, Mr. Funk. It just so happens that our film crew was there that night. We're going to take a look at that match. Let's go to the Omni right now. Terry Funk and Dusty Rhodes. And we're going to be seeing that in just a moment. That should be quite interesting.
Besides him, Tony Charles or Tony Atlas came in the ring to help him. So he had us outnumbered. The man cannot physically compete with me or my brothers as a wrestler or a street fighter or any way you want to put it. He's not intelligent enough, and he's not physically capable.
Just a moment, Mr. Funk. Just a moment. Don't leave. Please stay here, sir. All of you have seen exactly what happened and exactly what happened to Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes did suffer an arm injury. However, this past week in Florida, we had an opportunity to have Dusty Rhodes make these comments that I want you specifically to hear, sir. Let's go to Florida and Dusty Rhodes.
I've been asked by many people in the last few days, said, Dusty Rhodes, was that the most brutal thing that has ever happened to you in wrestling? The last time in Atlanta Omni, the Texas death match that never was finished, me and Terry Funk was, without a doubt, the most grueling thing I've ever been involved in my life. My arm feels all right. Pain just a little bit on the bone. The doctors say everything gonna be all right. But I'm tired of doctors telling me about what's gonna be all right. What needs to be all right is Dory Funk Jr. or Terry Funk stop messing in my business. Now the king of the Texas death match rise again, he say. The king of the Texas death match, Terry Funk. Well, that was never finished. The first time in the history a Texas death match was never finished. It was never finished because your brother didn't let the whipping go on, didn't let the beating go on. Now, I want either one of you, I want both of you, anytime, any place, anywhere. Because it hurts just a little bit to see 17,000, 16,000 people crying in pain with me because I was in pain. And you were in pain, and the thing ain't over, and it might not ever be over. Terry Funk, I gotta have satisfaction.
He admits that it was a tough match. I don't even admit that. It wasn't tough for me. The man is still a bulging buffoon that belongs in Sarasota, wintering with the circus and the carnival, and P.T. Barnum might be proud of a man like him, but the professional wrestling world isn't. I've ran him out of Florida, I ran him out of Texas, and he'll never come back to Georgia as long as I'm here. He won't do it.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll be talking more to Terry Funk in just a moment, but first of all, to show you the difference in philosophy, the difference in thinking, and the difference in feelings during this past week, Terry Funk and Dory Funk Jr. made this interview especially for us. So right now, let's go to Texas.
We're on top of the world. The Funks are back on top of the world again in professional wrestling. You're looking at the king of the Texas Death Matches, and you're looking at the world's greatest wrestler, the Funk family. The Texas Death Match with Dusty Rhodes. 50 minutes into that match, I knew exactly what was going to happen. Dusty Rhodes' stomach muscles started to relax, and you could see his bulging midsection hang all the way over his trunks. You saw him start breathing heavily, and then you started seeing him go ahead and looking for anything to compete with me with, because I'm in such better physical conditioning. And he went ahead and he tried to find foreign objects and use them, but what happened? I did exactly what I said I was going to do. I beat on him until his brains turned to marshmallows and his eyeballs turned to jelly. And I would have kept on beating on him, but thank the Lord. Thank the good Lord that my brother Dory Jr. was there. Now I want you to get a tight of my arm. Get a tight of that. You can see what kind of fella Dusty Rhodes is. Do you think that an athlete would do something like that? Do you think a wrist lock can do something like that? Do you think an arm bar can do something like that? Of course it can't. Rhodes, you found out that you can bring anything into that ring and you still aren't half of the man that I am or that I have ever been.
Terry, I've never taken as much abusive language in my life, but I was there at ringside last week because I knew what was going to happen in that Texas Death Match. I knew you could beat Dusty Rhodes within an inch of his life, and I was there to pull you off, to keep you from keeping Dusty Rhodes from even being around Atlanta, Georgia right now.
Well, there you have the comments from Mumbarger, Texas. Terry Funk is here live with us right now.
You go ahead and you side with Rhodes, but deep down in your heart, Solie, you know that the Funk family has dominated professional wrestling for the past 10 years. And before that, my father dominated it, and no family has been as important as we have. Not any individual like Dusty Rhodes, not any brother team like the Andersons or the Briscoes. We have dominated and will continue to dominate wrestling. I want you to tell.
Thank you very much.
Solie.
Thank you very much. Here's a special note of interest to all wrestling fans.
Sun champion Terry Funk. Terry Funk. His opponent from Atlanta, Georgia, weighing in at 210 pounds, Gerald Finley. Gerald Finley.
Gerald Finley going up against Terry Funk. Want to say a happy birthday to Tom Blaylock. Terry Funk, that arm still bandaged. Finley up against those ropes, and it is Funk watching his man carefully. And it is Funk, totally irate. Lashes out with a foot in his wild left hand that missed. And Finley attacking that injured arm, and Funk is trying to control himself. Well, that's perfectly legal. Finley has that right. Funk trying to overpower his man. Forearm that takes Finley back to the canvas once again. Funk again catches him with an elbow. Finley fires to the midsection, but it just glanced across the stomach. Funk lashes out, a boot to the chest. He misses with that hand, and it is a good recovery. Came back, snap there, came down with that elbow. Finley was out of the way, catches with an arm drag takedown. Another arm drag takedown by Gerald Finley, and Funk in trouble. But with a beautiful flying drop kick. Finley on his feet in a study of rage, frustration, and perhaps a little bit of humiliation now. Look at the face of Terry Funk and the grimly determined face of Gerald Finley. Terry Funk back to his feet. arm drag and twist, and that forearm across those biceps and triceps. Now Finley back to the canvas. Funk drives a knee into the base of the skull. Funk using the neck breaker. Finley powers out before the count of 3. And Funk, frustrated, he thought the count was too slow, but referee with a standard count. Funk brings him again, a full body slam. And that appears to have bothered the lumbar section of Gerald Finley. Funk is an interesting mixture of personalities. Finley driven back to those ropes. He's hanging on now, Funk. Tremendously confident. A right hand, another right hand. He uncorked that one. And Finley in trouble now, hanging on those ropes. Beautiful reversal on Funk. And Finley charges in. Finley has Terry Funk in trouble now. Finley charges again. Good shoulder smash to the chest, and it is now Finley. Flipping Funk off. Went up for a drop kick, but Funk held onto those ropes. And Terry Funk taking advantage of that situation. He was ahead of his man. One has to admit that. Funk bringing him up on the pile driver. And Finley, those 26 vertebrae jammed like that, it is all over. Terry Funk, one has to admit that he has great endurance. He is an all-out wrestler. There's no question about that. He is not a defensive wrestler. He is an aggressor at all times. And I want to... Finley being helped now from the ring. It's obvious that he is not going to be able to walk out under his own power. Those vertebrae have been jammed, I'm sure. Mr. Funk, may I just say this, as I just mentioned a moment ago, you're totally aggressive when you wrestle.
My daddy always taught me to go ahead and be a winner. He said, losers always finish last, and winning is the most important thing in the world, because you must win. And that's what I've done all of my life. That's what my brother's done all of his life. And nobody is gonna push us out of the top of professional wrestling. Not any family, not any individual, not the Andersons, and not those Briscoe brothers.
Well,
those has-beens.
February 24th at the Omni, it will be you and Dory Funk against Jack and Jerry Briscoe.
They have been has-beens for so long. You are looking at the top team. They have become of age and past their peak. You are looking at the two best that will be in their peak for the next 10 years. And in the Omni on the 24th,
we're
going to show you the greatest team.
Dutch Mantell. But before we do that, I'd like to take a moment, however, to explain to you that Jack and Jerry Briscoe have some very, very strong feelings about their very, very good friend, Dusty Rhodes. And this past week in Florida, Jack and Jerry Briscoe made some comments about Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk and Dusty Rhodes. Let's go to Florida and listen to these two.
You know, you kick around a lot of people. You kick around animals. You kick around your cattle and your horses out in Texas. Well, in Georgia and in the South, there's different ways of doing things. You know, you two West Texans and another West Texan, a very, very, very close friend of ours, Dusty Rhodes. You're trying to keep Dusty from attaining something that he's wanted for a long time. You know, I've always known that the true colors of Texans would come out eventually. And here you are, 3 of you fighting over something. Well, Dusty Rhodes, he knows where his loyalties lie. But Funks, you're all confused. For a long, long time, it's been boiling down to Funks and Briscoes.
That's right. That's what makes Oklahoma such great athletes, because they all stick together. Now, here's 2 Texans, the Funk brothers, jumping on a fellow Texan, trying to break his arm to keep him from the goal he has already attained and wants to attain again, the World's Championship. And both of the Funk brothers know and understand what that means. Terry broke his arm once before and cost him the World's Championship. Well, Dusty didn't ask us, but we defeated the Funks before right there in Atlanta, and you folks have seen it. Only this time, we're not going for just a pin. We're going for revenge for our brother Dusty Rhodes. One of them's going to walk out of there with a broken arm or a broken leg, and they'll feel the pain of the figure 4 leg lock.
And so Jack and Jerry Briscoe are indeed on the warpath. And now, here's a special word of interest to all wrestling fans.
From Nashville, Tennessee, weighing in at 232 pounds, Wildfire, Tommy Rich.
Well, you could hear who was the popular favorite at that time as they were introduced. Tommy Rich in the yellow trunks and Dutch Mantell in the red, white, and blue trunks. Good arm drag takedown by Tommy Wildfire Rich. Tommy Rich, of course, whose goal is to gain that World Heavyweight Championship. That is obviously the goal of any athlete. He wants to become the very, very best in his given profession. Tommy Rich, who obviously has a brilliant future in front of him, no question about this. Rich off the roof. Beautiful move by Rich. Mantell, I'm sure, felt very confident he'd get him into a hip toss, but Rich reversed that, backslide. Now Rich has him armbarred. Into the ropes, the referee calls for the break. Ah, Mantell, wild right hand that missed, and it is Rich catching up on him. Rich whips him into the ropes, moves in on top of him once again, overhooks the head. Variation of the chancery now. Mantell pulls him back to the ropes. And it is Mantell catching Rich back of the head. Snapmare. Mantell using the forearm now to the rear chin lock. Tommy Rich, who has fought some tremendous odds to get to the position that he's in professional wrestling. Snapmare by Rich that takes Mantell to the canvas once again. A rear chin lock into the ropes, and again the referee calling for the break. Mantell moving effectively now on Tommy Rich. Rich, who has to be the #1 contender for that World Heavyweight Championship. Caught by Mantell in a full body slam. Mantell down across the chest again. And he's in for a near fall on Tommy Rich. And Rich having some problems now. He doesn't seem to be able to get it together. Mantell has a beautiful salto. Float over into a lateral press, and again Rich powers out, but just barely before the count of 3. And so Rich, one to the midsection of Dutch Mantell. Rich catches him again, but Mantell again closes in on him. Rich catches him coming off the ropes, but Rich again moves in on Mantell, and now Rich using that right hand effectively. Whips Mantell into the rope. Charges in. Mantell out of the way, and Rich appears to have injured that knee. Mantell across the chest. And Mantell, after that knee, trying to get to the under bandaging of that knee. Rich trying to get away from it. Mantell, after that bandaging on the knee, and now punishing that knee. And he had a chance here. He had a chance to possibly pin Tommy Rich, but instead seems to be intent upon injuring him. And it's Mantell, who now is again, after that knee, going into a full Boston Crab. Tommy Rich not conceding, and Mantell obviously pushing. Good move by Tommy Rich. He's powered up, but Rich has got problems. And Mantell at this point does not even appear to be going after a pinning combination. Well, there's been a lot of money, a bounty put on Tommy Rich. There's been a bounty put on him, and obviously Harley Race. Now Mantell using those ropes for extra leverage. He broke and he was using the turnbuckles for extra leverage. Rich in a lot of trouble here, and now I'm beginning to wonder the motives of Dutch Mantell. I wonder seriously the motives. Again, he's after that knee. Spinning toe hold on Tommy Rich, and Rich trying. The referee knocked down. The referee is down, and Mantell is after Tommy Rich. And again, a full body slam, and Dutch Mantell. Dutch Mantell going up on that top rope. Mantell up on that top rope, dives up. No, sir, the referee calling for the bell. The referee calling for the bell. Tommy Rich luckily moved out of the way in time. Mantell came off that top rope, and now Tommy Rich fighting his way back to his feet, and Tommy Wildfire Rich now beginning to explode on Dutch Mantell. Mantell in trouble. Mantell ducking away and leaving the ring area. Tommy Rich. Mantell disqualified. Mantell disqualified, but it became increasingly obvious to me, increasingly apparent, that Mantell was not seeking a pinfall. Mantell was seeking to injure, and I can only draw a conclusion that perhaps Mantell is another of the bounty hunters that are out to stop Tommy Wildfire Rich. I was hoping to have a chance to talk to Tommy Rich, but they're taking him on to the dressing room at this time to tend to that knee, which is certainly understandable. Here's a young man who's, may I just say this about him, he's traveling worldwide, so if he wins that World Heavyweight Championship, that part of the rigors he'll be used to. He just came back from Hawaii. He'll be in Hollywood at the Star Wars 80s. He'll be on to Biloxi, Mississippi, Alexandria, Louisiana. He's traveling all over.
Managed by the great Mephisto. His opponent from Carrollton, Georgia, weighing in at 215 pounds, Rick Craven.
And Abdullah the Butcher, not even waiting for the introductions to be finished, takes off that tunic now and is after Ricky Craven. Abdullah the Butcher hurdling Craven into the turnbuckle, and Craven in trouble. Those eyes are glazed. Abdullah catching him again. Craven again feels the sting of that canvas on his back. Craven hurtled out of the ring, and he's in a lot of trouble out there. Coming up very slowly. Abdullah the Butcher catching him. Ricky Craven coming up slowly, caught again by Abdullah the Butcher, having no chance to get back into the ring. And it is Abdullah the Butcher again. The forearm across the back, and you can see the reddening of the back. Craven again outside the ring, in a lot of trouble. Craven coming up very, very slowly. And again, Abdullah the Butcher catching him. Craven gamely trying to get back into the ring. Abdullah the Butcher. It's off the far side. Caught him with a shoulder smash coming off the ropes. And Craven, at this point, certainly doesn't have it together at all. And Craven hitting that concrete on the outside. Again, the lumbar section of his back taking a lot of punishment. Say one thing about Craven, he's a determined young man, but he has been badly mauled thus far. Abdullah caught him coming off the ropes. Abdullah has Craven in a lot of trouble. Abdullah crashing down again. Again, did not allow the pin. Craven completely destroyed, but Abdullah putting the coup de grace to him. Allows the pinfall this time. The count of 3. Well, there are several things on my mind that I want to talk to the great Mephisto about. And I want to bring him over here as quickly as I can as soon as he gets Abdullah the Butcher straightened out. With me, of course, is, I say, one of the most brilliant managers in professional wrestling today, the great Mephisto, has quite a stable indeed, sir.
Yes, you know, amongst my stable now, I have added the Manchurians. Far outstanding wrestlers, but my prize is Abdullah the Butcher. And I just want to say this, that Abdullah the Butcher should be wrestling Harley Race for the World Championship. This is the man here, and when I tell people this, they have their doubts. They think this man is too wild, too uncontrollable. But I guarantee you that you are looking here at the next World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion.
Well, may I just say this, that the last time the matches were held at the Omni at Tony Atlas, an unusual situation occurred.
Well, an unusual situation occurred, yes, because Tony Atlas did something out of the ordinary. Tony Atlas dared put his hands on me, and from outside of the ring, I was in my rightful place. He grabbed me and pulled me into the ring.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's take a look at it. Let's go to the Omni, and we'll take a look at this incident that you're talking about regarding yourself, Abdullah, and Tony Atlas. All right, Tony Atlas, Mr. USA, in the ring at this point.
You see, now what has happened here, Mr. Gordon Solie, that I was shouting instructions to my Abdullah, as you can very plainly see. And as I was shouting instructions, you see he has Tony Atlas down. Tony Atlas right now is on his way to certain defeat. There is no way out. Once they face this big black specimen, there is no way to go but down. You know, Tony Atlas has won many honors, I hear, in weightlifting, the Mr. USA. But it takes more than muscle. It takes a lot of mental concentration when you're going against a human destruction machine like my Abdullah. There you see him giving him the axe. Now,
he did not score a pinfall. He got that shoulder off, and you're protesting it here.
Yeah, now what I am doing, I am shouting instructions to Abdullah. You see here Tony Atlas using double chops, which is illegal, using fist to the face, which is illegal. And now you see him, now he is trying the greatest form of flattery. He is trying to duplicate the acts that Abdullah the Butcher has made famous.
Well, it appears to me that Tony Atlas is completely in control of the situation. You're becoming more and more frustrated at the outside of the ring.
No, you see, I am not frustrated because I have complete confidence in my Abdullah. I have to admit this, I have never seen anyone ever pick Abdullah up off of the mat. It took a lot of strength to do this. You'll see now Tony Atlas is trying to suplex him. It took a tremendous amount of strength to do that. But what Tony Atlas lacks is mental concentration. You see, the Sudanese warriors were taught to fight since youth. Fight till one man falls. And this is what Tony Atlas, being an American, this is what he lacks. Now you see, I am trying now to get eye-to-eye contact with Abdullah. I am shouting instructions. Now this big goofball comes and grabs me, look at him, and slams me inside of the ring. Now, maybe, perhaps, he would have got maybe a 1 or a 2 count on Abdullah, but he couldn't concentrate that far. He had to beat up everyone in the place, everyone around the ring to show his superiority. And now you see him manhandling me. I was fulfilling my just right as a manager, and now you see him headbutting me. Now he should have been disqualified for that, for bringing me into the ring. The referee should have disqualified him. Now you see the tremendous uppercut that Abdullah has given him. Now you see the count. 1, 2, 3. This is what makes my Abdullah outstanding. You can't take your eyes off of Abdullah for 1 second, because when you do, it is certain defeat.
Well, may I just say, sir, first of all, sir, the manager's place is outside the ring, not up on the ring ropes.
Well, you know, my place is up on the ring ropes, up on the apron, as long as I do not come into the ring. You know, this Tony Atlas, like I have just stated, not to repeat myself, lacks a lot of mental concentration. Now, he is going around challenging a lot of people. He has challenged me. He has challenged my Abdullah the Butcher. As a matter of fact, I have been even challenged to participate with my Abdullah in a tag team match.
And I, the former United States wrestling champion, am not just a great manager. I stay in top physical form at all time, ready to take on any challenge that anyone may issue to me. And with Abdullah the Butcher, and with the Sheik, the Manchurians, the Mongolians, I keep in top form.
Let me just ask you this. Of course, on February 24th at the Omni in Atlanta is going to be you and Abdullah the Butcher against Tony Atlas. The loser of the fall must leave town. Now, I frankly, for one, am amazed that Tony Atlas would go for a situation like that.
Well, you know, it was Tony Atlas himself, Gordon Solie, which issued this challenge. In the Omni, when the last time that he wrestled Abdullah the Butcher, he was defeated. I thought we was finished with him. But now he has come and issued a challenge. He couldn't beat Abdullah by himself. Now he wants me in the ring. Loser, leave town. Well, I guess his wrestling career has come to an end. One of those weights must have fell on top of his head and knocked him goofy to issue such a challenge. So the only thing I can say, everybody come to bid farewell to Tony Atlas, because they won't see him. How in the world could he expect to beat Abdullah the Butcher and myself? There is no way.
Well, we're going to find out, that's for sure. And we'd also like to remind you on February 16th, Tommy Wildfire Rich goes up against the Superstar in Biloxi. $3,000 richer and has the title. Wrestling 2. Welcome aboard.
Well, thank you very much, Gordon. You know, that $3,000 sure did make my pocket feel good. I know that. Needless to say, in the championship belt, the one thing that I fought so hard to regain, but you know, you left one thing out.
All right.
I also still have my mask.
Yes, he does. There's no question about that. You've still got it. And may I again offer my congratulations.
Thank you, Gordon. You know, it all boils down to one hell of a lot of hard work. I had this man, Superstar, was on my case from the time I came in here, and I knew what I had to do with my heart. And I made up my mind that nothing was going to get in my way, and I can't thank the people enough to the way they stood behind me all the way. There was no ifs, buts, or ands. You know, they were standing right behind me, and every move I made, I could feel their presence at all times. And this, I think, is what gave me the drive and the determination to come out on top.
Well, I'll tell you another thing, too. I know that you had a good friend of yours that added a lot of psychological boosting for you, Andre the Giant. We're going to go to the Omni right now, and stay with me, and we'll go to the Omni with Andre the Giant. And this was quite a situation, 3 against 2 in this matchup.
Well, you know, Gordon, I felt very confident in the match because, as you know, Andre the Giant is a very large man, and he is well capable of handling 2 and at times 3 men himself. But I felt that the combination between he and I felt very confident in the match. Although there was times in there that I had doubts within myself because, as you know, we went up against 3 very capable men. Superstar, a man that gives no quarter at any time. And the other man, his partner, Khan, he's another man that gives no quarter. But Andre the Giant, right at this moment right here, he stopped. You know, the man's got a heart of gold, and he took a time to make sure I didn't go out onto the floor and injure myself to any great extent, you know. And here he actually sacrificed himself. And what more can I say about Andre the Giant? He's a big, large man, and one of the most super men I've ever come across. And as far as the tag team partner is concerned, he's by far one of the greatest.
Certainly no question about that. 7 feet 4 inches tall, 450 pounds. And there you see him outside the ring now. And, of course, you're against the Superstar, and this is, in a sense, a preview of things to come.
Well, yeah, very true. He had the Cobra hold on me there, and Mephisto made a big mistake and ran right into Andre the Giant's foot. I think about 22 or 23 shoe he wears. You run into that, brother, it's a cold stop, you know.
No question there. And now, of course, here we see Killer Khan and the great Mephisto, and Killer Khan getting in some very, very cheap shots here.
Well, I think they were actually put up to this because Superstar, as you know, we had to come back into a cage match, and Superstar was going to do everything in his power to have me down as far as he could get me to so it would make easy pickings for him.
Well, obviously, of course, he wanted to get that Georgia Heavyweight Championship back. He also wanted the $3,000, and it appears here that they're trying to get that mask off.
That's exactly what they were trying to do, and if it wasn't for my very good friend Andre the Giant one more time, I perhaps would have fell at the wayside at this particular moment.
Mephisto still there, and then Killer Khan, of course, continuing that attack. The Superstar, dazed and staggered, still not on his feet, but Mephisto continues to pound away at your head, and Killer Khan as well, and of course...
Here comes the big man himself. He was at that particular moment, my brain was completely scrambled. I didn't know which way I was going.
Well, it's Andre the Giant picking you up, carrying you over to the ring ropes at this point, helping you out of the ring. But nonetheless, you had scored the pinfall. Your team was victorious. You and Andre the Giant continue to be undefeated.
Well, that's very true, and I hope in the long run, I feel confident in the future that Andre the Giant and I will be victorious all the way down the line.
And, of course, singly you were victorious because you did get the Georgia Tag Team Championship, as we said. You got the $3,000 when you stepped outside of that steel cage, and you retained your mask, which is something that you absolutely vowed that you were going to do. I wonder if we might go take a look at that.
I'd love to, Gordon. I really would, because once again, this Andre the Giant took it upon himself. Like I said, the big heart that he has. He went out there and tried to replace me because I had my doubts whether I was going to be able to continue or not.
Well, there you have it. So now we're back to the Omni at this point in time, and well, I'll let you pick up the action from here.
Well, I was back in the room at that time and trying to get myself contained, and I knew that hundreds and thousands of people had been dependent on me to be out there and defend the Georgia title and defend my honor and to try and get that $3,000. So I just said, no, I can't let that go by. So I made my way out there, and Superstar saw that I was in a little bit of a weakness there, and he took advantage of me right away and tried to capitalize on it.
Of course, you had suffered injuries previously and had been weakened. There was no question about that. May I just say that I think it took tremendous courage, a great deal of intestinal fortitude to realize the punishment that you were going to have to take, and yet it didn't deter you.
Well, Gordon, you know, when you have thousands and thousands of people standing behind you the way I had, you can't, I don't know, it seems like injuries at times you overcome it some way or another, you know, and it's just something that I particularly feel that the people that were behind me, and I just couldn't give up. There's no way in the world I could give up. It reminds me back when I was a very young man. I had a man that stood by my side many times. His name was Fred Silver, and he and I would run around together when we was kids, you know, and he was a man I'll never forget. Freddie Silver was a very dear friend of mine, as Andre the Giant is a very close friend of mine and a super tag team partner. But I knew in my heart that as long as I can stand, as long as I can get on my feet, I've got to defeat this man, because this, to me, was the ultimate of all our matches that we've ever had, Superstar and Wrestling 2. This had to be the one that was going to finish it all. And at that particular moment right there, I got Superstar. He was trying to get out of that cage. I saw him there, and it took everything I had to throw that big knee, and I did. And I got out of that cage, and I didn't get out really on my feet, kind of went out on my head, but I got out first, and that signified that I won the check, also the Georgia title, and I kept my mask.
That, of course, is the all-important thing. There you see Superstar lunging desperately, trying to stop you from getting out of that steel cage, but you made it out, and the Superstar, I will have to say this, and certainly I know everybody is exceptionally pleased, exceptionally proud of you, but I would have to say this in begrudging credit. You faced perhaps one of the most superior athletes in the country when you faced the Superstar.
Well, I feel that the same way, because the Superstar is by far one of the best athletes that I have ever gone up against. He's a tough individual, and there's not a whole lot I can say about the man. He's tough from the word goes, and if you can't get on your feet and if you can't defend yourself, brother, you're a dead chicken as far as he's concerned. And I knew this, and I just knew that I had everything behind me, and I was going to go all the way, and I had the big man there to meet me as I went out on my head.
Okay, thank you so much, very much. Wrestling number 2, the Georgia Heavyweight Champion, and here's a special word for all wrestling fans. Week here on Georgia Championship Wrestling. The first time ever a mixed tag team match of women and men. Now then, let me take a moment to talk to the national television champion, Mr. Austin Idol.
Well, first of all, for everybody that's sent in so many fan letters, there's been thousands of fan letters been sent in wanting to know the welfare and about the health of Austin Idol. And as you can see, yes, I've got a few scrapes and scratches, but I'm just as pretty as I ever was. And you know, really, at this particular point in time, I feel like a bear that just had the thorn plucked from its paw. You know, this Sullivan, this maniac Sullivan, I don't understand how much more humiliation and how much more embarrassment that this man can take. I beat him at his own game, darling. He wanted the Boston Street Fight match. I gave it to him, and I beat him at his own game. As a matter of fact, now that he's been humiliated to the greatest degree of humiliation, I've got a little plan for the maniac. You know, I've been looking for a chauffeur for quite some time, and I believe that I can still use this Sullivan and make him my chauffeur. Maybe I'll use him to iron a few of my robes. Maybe I'll use him to shine my beautiful boots. But nevertheless, Sullivan, you'll still earn a few dollars. You're not completely out of luck. I'm going to use you as my personal valet to sit on the ropes, cock the ropes as I enter the ring. But there are more important and bigger fish to fry. Believe me, I'm going on to bigger and better things. You know the funny thing about this, some of the wrestling fans out here actually thought that this Sullivan had a chance of beating the Idol. That's what really makes me laugh.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we do this then? Why don't we go back? You've been doing so much talking about this match. Why don't we go back to the Omni and take a look at that situation?
Fine with me. Let's see it.
All right. Let's move back to the Omni then and watch the situation. Now, I'll be perfectly happy, Mr. Idol, to allow you to present your version of this.
Well, as you can see, this is a Boston Street Fight match. This is a match where the referee stays outside the ring. As you saw him leaving the ring there, you come dressed as you are. And as you can see, the Idol is definitely coming for warfare, and that's what it was. This Sullivan, like I said before, I know we've done a lot of shouting, we've done a lot of screaming, we've done a lot of name calling, but this is where it all comes to a head. Now look at this. This is where he throws me out over the top rope. It's perfectly legal. I land on my back, and Sullivan is on me just like I said. He is a maniac. He doesn't back up, sidestep, or retreat from anybody. But one thing is for sure, you're going to have to be an awfully tough and a big, tough man to defeat Austin Idol. Yes, he's got me going right here. He's got me writhing in pain. Yes, I'm feeling the fist that he's got taped up, and I do sincerely believe that the maniac had something hidden in those taped fists. But there's one thing for sure. An athlete like Austin Idol can not only dish out punishment, but he can take it. And that's what it's all about. Not only being able to dish it out, but be able to take it. And I'm taking a beating right here, probably one of the worst beatings that I've ever taken. But as you can see right here, I've got this Sullivan going right now, and he knows it's true, everything I said about him. It's all true because the Idol does not lie. I do not deceive anybody. I've built my reputation on fact. I've built my reputation on truth. And look at this right here, a tremendous collision right in the middle of the ring. Now I want you to see what takes place right here. The referee finally comes in the ring. He does a count, and look right here. Notice how Sullivan has pulling my tights right there. Pulled my tights to actually get it. I don't believe that was a 3 count. It was a 2 count right there. A big double knockout right here. Call it what you want to call it. It was a side suplex, a devastating hold. The Idol is not through.
Sullivan has his hand raised, and suddenly you're attacking him again.
This was a Boston Street Fight. In a street fight, anything goes and everything goes. And you can see right here, I want to show you what I think of the maniac Sullivan. You know how he whipped me on national television? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Now I want you to see the welts I raise in his back. I want you to see what Kevin Sullivan is. I want you to see who the dog is. Look how I beat him, and I beat him, and I whipped him. And right then and there, if you could hear what he was saying I give, I quit. Yes, you're the master. Yes, you're the king. Yes, you're the prettiest. Yes, you're the strongest. Yes, you make the most money. Look here. Look at this. You call this legal right here. Sullivan used this, but I want you to wait and see. Last things first. This thing is not over by a long shot. Look, yes, it looks like the Idol may have the tables turned on, but watch here. Always thinking, always maneuvering, always one step ahead of his opponent. Look at Sullivan now, doesn't know where he is at, has no idea where he's at. And now, this is where the truth comes out. This is where we see who the greatest athlete of all time is. The man who's got the most guts, the man who's got the most perseverance, the man who's got the most determination, the man who's got the most ability, the greatest all-round athlete of all time. At this time, actually, I felt like putting the Maniac's lights out. And I want you to see what happened here. Just as I was getting ready to put his lights out, look at this. The referee actually was the one that reached up and kicked the chair. And now I figured Sullivan had enough. I figured the damage was done, so I started to leave. This incredible Maniac jumped me on my back and started to beat me like a dog again. But as far as I'm concerned, it's over. I want you to see who walks off. I was the one who walked off there, not Sullivan. I was the one that walked off on my own 2 feet. It was not the Maniac. So be rest assured, and everybody out there be rest assured, you are still looking at the national heavyweight champion. You're looking at the greatest all-round athlete of all time. The man. Wait a minute now.
Wait a minute.
Come on, nothing's over with me and you, you maggot face.
Hold it.
Come
hold
on.
it. Kevin. Kevin.
Come on, I don't.
Kevin. You know the regulations. If you cause a fight out here in this interview area, you can be suspended.
Come on,
Kevin.
We'll get the ring. Get the ring. You maggot.
This is he always needs somebody hanging on his coattails. I beat him right in the middle of the ring. He won't come out here by himself. He always needs someone to hide behind. I don't.
Terminate this situation. We'll be back. Here's a special word.
Introducing first from Texas, weighing in at 230 pounds, Dutch Mantell. His partner from Charlotte, North Carolina, weighing in at 235 pounds, Bobby Garrett. Their opponents from Virginia, weighing in at 240 pounds, Steve Travis. His partner from Boston, Massachusetts, weighing in at 230 pounds, Kevin Sullivan.
Kevin Sullivan and Steve Travis going up against Dutch Mantell and Bobby Garrett. It's Garrett moving out first, wearing the black trunks. Sullivan in the purple trunks. Garrett and Sullivan retaliating very quickly. Sullivan pounding away on Garrett and wasting no time. Makes the tag. Steve Travis moves in. Steve Travis keeping him tied. The tag is made once again. Kevin Sullivan moves in. Good move by Travis. Caught Garrett coming in. Travis brings him up. Full body slam. Again caught by Sullivan and Travis as a tag team combination. I was talking to my good friend Cowboy Bill Watts last week in Oklahoma, and he was telling me that he had watched this combination and thought they had a tremendous potential. And coming from an athlete like Bill Watts, that's quite a compliment indeed for Steve Travis and Kevin Sullivan. I'd like to remind you, in 2 weeks here on Georgia Championship Wrestling, we will have the World Heavyweight Champion Harley Race. He'll be competing. Travis keeping the arm drag and twist. Caught from behind, Dutch Mantell. He whips Garrett into his corner. Mantell moves out. Off the ropes. Travis caught with a shoulder smash. Mantell moves off again. High hip toss. Mantell. Double inside cradle. Travis missed with a right hand. Mantell brings him up. The atomic knee drop, and Travis could be in trouble. Kevin Sullivan starts charging the ring, and it's Mantell seizing that opportunity. Mantell using the back of the elbow. Crashing down on Steve Travis across his chest. And flashing up a full body slam on Steve Travis. Mantell crashes down across the chest once again. You can hear the crowd now picking up the chant. in trouble here with Dutch Mantell, and Mantell, a double tough individual. And it's Mantell going for a standing guillotine, the abdominal stretch. And Travis fighting it. Mantell cinching down. Travis in a lot of trouble here. Good move by Travis. He broke it up. Garrett makes the tag. Travis catches Garrett coming in. Garrett powered off. The tag was made. Backdrop by Steve Travis. Kevin Sullivan made the tag. And Snapmare takes Garrett back to the canvas. Kevin Sullivan goes for the figure four. Kevin Sullivan to the figure four. Garrett very quickly conceding. Kevin Sullivan and Steve Travis successful in that. Another quick reminder at this time that tomorrow the best of championship wrestling will be seen on this channel from 5 until 5:30 only. This week only a 30-minute segment of the best of championship wrestling. Let me call in Kevin Sullivan and Steve Travis. Obviously, you're perfecting that figure four.
Well, Gordon, thank you very much. I have a great partner here. You know, I heard that blonde-headed maggot talking. He says he beat me. As you indicated to him, in case he can't see, I whipped him like I was his daddy. I whipped him and beat him in my type of match. I have to admit it, he did give me some bruises, but that's what you get in a Boston street fight match. Austin Idol, you're talking to go on a bigger fry. When I get through with you, you're not even going to be bait fish.
Amen. Tell it like it is. That's right, baby.
Well, I'll tell you what, gentlemen, I'm very glad that you used some restraint out here a few moments ago, because that could have cost you quite a bit.
Gordon, you know, I thought about that later. Maybe that was his whole thing, was get me suspended to get me out of here. Austin Idol, I have not yet begun to fight you. I'm going to take you and show you, like those people say, what a maniac will do, because I'm glad to be a maniac.
Well, may I just say that on February 24th at the Omni in Atlanta, perhaps all of this will come to an end.
Well, Gordon, let me tell you this. You know, he's talking about how he whipped me. I whipped him on national TV in front of all my people, in front of all my fans. And let me tell you, with lumberjacks outside the ring with a belt, Austin Idol, I know you're not going to jump out of that ring and run for me anymore, because they'll whip you like the dog you are, like the dirty, low-down life you are, because you belong to me still. And there's no bigger fish for you, because after me, you're not going to be fish bait.
85 pounds, Killer Khan, managed by the great Mephisto. His opponent from Miami, Florida, weighing in at 215 pounds, Mike Fever.
Mike Fever going up against Killer Khan. There you see the great Mephisto. And Killer Khan, of course, has raised the ire of One Wrestling 2. No question about that. Look at this Khan. He is on him coming off the ropes. That may be a near record. That may be a near record for a victory here on Georgia Championship Wrestling. I will check the time and let you know later about that. Killer Khan just totally decimating that opponent. Look at him. An unruly situation indeed. Well, may I just say we do have some time remaining. Of course, we always try to maintain a standby match in the files. And I'll tell you what, if we're set, what I'd like to do is let's go to Florida and let's take a look at a great tag team combination, Jack and Jerry Briscoe. Jack and Jerry Briscoe moving up. Ron Slinker, as you see him out there. Jack Briscoe, former world heavyweight champion. Slinker rolling out of the ring. Jack Briscoe standing there at this time, the referee, and Briscoe watching his man. There you see Rick Oliver. Now it is Jerry Briscoe moving in. Jerry and Jack Briscoe, of course, outstanding athletes. Jerry Briscoe in the blue trunks are up against the ring ropes now. Slinker trying to keep him tied up. Slinker, nationally rated in karate, exceptionally a dangerous competitor. Jerry Briscoe caught him in the pit of the stomach coming off those ropes. But Jack and Jerry Briscoe, of course, have wrestled together since childhood and have an intense concern for each other. Both went to Oklahoma State. Outstanding wrestling teams at Oklahoma State. Great rivalry between Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. In fact, the matter is you'll get as many people to the wrestling matches between those two colleges as you will basically to the football games. They have a great turnout. Oklahoma is certainly one of the great wrestling states in the entire United States, having turned out such competitors as Jack and Jerry Briscoe, Danny Hodge, and of course the incomparable Cowboy Bill Watts, to name just a few. But there you see Slinker missing with a wild looping right hand. Jerry Briscoe outside, watching carefully. Jack Briscoe continues to work away at Slinker. Slinker caught him that time. A beautiful chop coming off the ropes. Briscoe powers out before the count of 3. Briscoe held the World Heavyweight Championship for 2.5 years. Has been a dominant force in professional wrestling for a number of years. Twice NCAA champion, I might add. Both men crashing into each other, and both men in trouble. Oliver reaching out, trying to make that tag. Slinker having troubles, and Briscoe dazed and stunned. The referee in a mutual count here. Jack Briscoe trying to get over. Slinker has made the tag with Oliver. Oliver catches him a hard right arm to the side of the jaw, now into a rear chin lock. Jerry Briscoe obviously very concerned here, but we saw Briscoe bring him up. Takes Oliver back to the canvas now. Jack Briscoe back to his feet, makes the tag with brother Jerry, and Jerry Briscoe moves in. Solid left hands and a right hand that put Oliver back to the canvas. And of course, the tactics that were used during this match, the Briscoes, I feel, were certainly very justified. And all of the things that they did do because they had a tremendous problem. There you go, that Oklahoma Bulldog has Slinker to the canvas. The tag is made. Jack Briscoe moves in. Leg grapevine, 3/4 Nelson, and it is all over. And that's the one great thing, of course, about Jack and Jerry Briscoe. They will go back to the basics as often as they can. They have a tremendous basic knowledge of amateur wrestling. They utilize that every opportunity they have, and so you see them disappear from the ring now. A victorious team indeed, Jack and Jerry Briscoe. And they'll give a hard time to anybody who wants to go against them, whether it be the Anderson brothers or whether it be the Funk brothers or what have you. Joining me right now is certainly one of the most popular men in professional wrestling, the Candyman, Ray Candy.
Gordon, it's a pleasure to be here. You know, one thing I want to say, whenever Tommy Rich do face Harley Race in the ring, you know, I hope him the best of luck, because until then, whatever match he have, he gonna be on his P's and Q's. So I'm letting all these guys know that Tommy Rich got one main interest, that's in facing Harley Race in the future. You know, it's a fine team like the Briscoes, the Funk family, and the Anderson brothers, all of them family. And, you know, somewhere down the line, they all will collide. A lot of things happening, Gordon. A lot of things happening.
A lot of things happening indeed. And of course, that bounty obviously is still out on Tommy Rich, and that is the thing that I think all of us have to be concerned about. Our thanks to our crew today.